here. So, what are you? When did you guys start?
Way back 20 years ago, 1993, I started my first shop called the CIA, which was cannabis in Amsterdam, and it was very similar to where you are right now, a kind of counterculture zone with hemp clothing and a sort of activist spot. We like the same thing we're doing here. We like to bring in all the hemp activists, keep things fresh. I mean, there's a lot. Colorado's in the middle of a big change right now, so we want to be part of that change.
Definitely. So, who is HoodLab?
HoodLab is my company that I started in '93 with a partner named Douglas McNolan in Amsterdam, because I lived there from when I was 19, basically.
Nice.
And I moved out of America when I was 19 in '89. I was like, I'm out of this place. Went to Amsterdam, realized like that was my spot. But then 20 years later, Amsterdam sort of changed. You know, it's not quite as cool as it isn't the underground scene that it used to be. It's pretty much getting commercialized. You know, in Colorado, the new scene. You know, it's always go to the new scenes. That's the best place.
Nice. So how did you get to Denver? Just the whole legalization process, sort of?
It was partially. It was actually quite funny. I had one contact, and when I came here, I landed at the airport, and I drove to Fort Collins to a shop there, which is called In Harmony Wellness, and unfortunately they were shut down during the whole 1284. But in the beginning, it was my introduction to the whole scene here was to go to that shop. I met a guy named Derek Cummings who owned the shop, and I saw we had a lot of the same ideas. He was doing organizing events. I had helped organize Cannabis Cup, so we kind of had this mutual respect for the plant and what we're doing. And it took me only about 2 or 3 days of being here in Colorado to realize like this place had something going on.
Nice.
Plus, I make all this winter gear, so
Yeah.
it's kind of like, where else are you gonna be but Colorado?
Yeah, great. So, what is First Friday, and what does it mean to HoodLab here?
Okay, well, First Friday it's kind of nationwide. Like it's in California, New York, everywhere. And most of the art districts, they kind of focus on First Friday to be a sort of place when everybody kind of gets out there and check out what's going on. We started out in South Santa Fe, which is where First Friday in Denver really sort of focused on. But we quickly outgrew that spot, and now we're here in Rhino District, which is again an up and coming, super awesome neighborhood. And so we continue the First Fridays. We just keep rolling with it. We bring in a new artist, usually different music every time. And try to just kind of like make a place that everyone knows they can kind of start off. We're kind of a jump off place because we don't stay open too late. We stay open until about midnight. So usually people come here, they go to Cervantes or wherever else.
Nice.
The First Fridays are getting to become pretty well known all over the world, actually.
So how do you feel about the marijuana movement being a hemp company? You're all for it, I'm guessing.
Of course. I mean, I'm not only all for it. I mean, we're backing it up as much as we can. I've offered my space to any kind of events that are going down, and when it's for legalization. We had the first one on New Year's here, which was Club 64, which got the worldwide news, pretty much. And all it really was us opening our doors to a normal night here at the lab. You know what I mean? It was nothing different, but yet it was international news because it was a cannabis-friendly sort of establishment, and that's going to happen really quickly. And I think within 2 years, 3 years, you're pretty much going to have it's either going to be you're cannabis-friendly or you're not. But slowly the numbers will go to the more towards friendly, I think, because you just bring a better clientele.
In the field where so many people have failed, what do you attribute your success to?
Just perseverance. I mean, it's one of those things where with cannabis and hemp, it's like you're hot or you're not. You know what I mean? It's very much a seasonal thing. It's Madonna smokes a joint, all of a sudden it's the greatest thing ever. You know what I mean? It's like it's kind of petty in a way because that's how people think. It's very simple. But if you just persevere and never stop, because you can't let something like not being instantly successful come against you. We've been doing this for 20 years. I'll probably be doing it for 20 more. And I don't really feel like we're a success yet. I feel like we're on our way to becoming a success. And most people would have given up. It's 20 years for any business. You either failed or you sold out. You know what I mean? And we've done neither. So that's a success, I guess. It's like breaking even at a party. It's already a success if you break even. You know what I mean? Because you can't expect to make just gangbuster money. And that's what I think is the problem with cannabis. People who aren't really part of the industry, they come into it expecting instant money. It doesn't really go like that. There's a lot of karma involved in this thing, and I think we've built up a massive amount of karma over the years.
Do you want to
reefer, and it's 35% recycled bottles, 25% hemp, and acrylic, which it used to be 100% acrylic. So the idea was to just get as much of that out as possible because we're making completely natural clothing, and then you line it with plastic. It's kind of against the idea. So, but these are again super perfect for Colorado. The idea being like hemp is it breathes really well. It's hypoallergenic. It's antifungal. It's got all these great attributes already. Not to mention it's hemp. You know what I mean? We also make, for instance, this is a pretty famous one. This is our bulletproof jacket we do. It's our classic hoodlum, classic cut, but we had it lined with a substance called Dinama. It's sort of like Kevlar, and it's 32 layers of material. And you see it's got this panel here. This protects you from, in case you get shot, like on the zipper. So it's your heart, you definitely want to get shot in the heart. But these are a level 2A. So it means it's been tested with a 9mm, a 22, and a 357 Magnum.
That's impressive.
So it's pretty, yeah. And the idea of this one was it's the strongest man-made fiber, and the strongest natural fiber. So it's the strongest jacket in the world.
Fabulous.
And then the rest of the store, you can see we have a lot of art. I mean, these are all different arts that have come through. This is Dompie from Amsterdam. Basically, he's dedicated his entire career to hemp. I mean, that's all everything he does is based on either, like all this was the series that he did was taking old 50s cigarette ads and converting them into positive cannabis ads, because that's kind of the way we're going. That's what he sees it as, like, it's just about to hit mainstream where, everybody's dreaming about, I want to buy a pack of cigarettes, that'll be a joint. To me, that's almost like the opposite. It's almost like once that happens, now we've gotten to the mainstream that we've never been there, you know what I mean? We've always been underground. So the cannabis scene, I think it's a little bit growing pains for a lot of us. We don't really know if we want to totally
put your name out there.
Well, I don't mind putting the name out. I just don't know if it's sort of like, it's almost like when it's all about the fight to get to where we go. And if you win, sometimes it's hard because you're like, now what do I do? I got to start a good fight.
Yeah.
And we've been fighting for a long time.
Yeah,
It's like 20
totally.
years. 20 years, the whole scene much longer than that.
Forever.
Yeah, and I think it's also interesting because Colorado was the first state to bring in prohibition and also the first state to get rid of it. And they're the first state to get rid of prohibition of cannabis, so they're also on the same tip, you know what I mean? They were the first people to make cannabis illegal 20 years before everybody else did. So it's really like weird times are just repeating themselves, which is the way life usually goes, and it is like doing it here to the T. So if we're in that position, then all of us are just the same as the gangsters that became the businessmen right after prohibition. So it's kind of a nice feeling.
Nice.
Can't be gangsters forever.